Okay, welcome back to the 2023 final exam review for Algebra 2. In this video, we're going to cover section 11, where we convert things with rational exponents into radical form. So something with a rational exponent is anything in the form of a to the power of m divided by n. And we can convert this into radical form when we write it like this. The nth root of a to the power of m. This is the big property that we're going to use for this section and the next. In this section, we're going from this form, it's called exponential form, over to radical form. In the next section, we're going to go the other way around. But for now, let's focus on changing exponential form to radical form. So with this property, there's actually a few special cases. We have another property that when m is 1, so if we let m be equal to 1, we have a to the power of 1 over n. And using this property, we get the nth root of a to the power of 1. But anything to the power of 1 is itself. So in this special case, we actually have just the nth root of a. So if we ever have a to the power of 1 over n, it's just the nth root of a. And we have another special case of that, particularly when we have a to the 1/2 power, so when n is equal to 2. When that's the case, we have the second root of a, but that's just the definition of the square root. This 2 is actually implied when we don't see an index here. So this number that appears in front of the radical like that is called the index. And this symbol here is called the radical. What's inside of the radical is called the radicand. So I'll often use this terminology, probably throughout this video, and you've definitely heard me use this throughout this course. But that's just a quick recap on terminology here. But in a nutshell, we have our big three properties. A to the power of m over n is equal to the nth root of a to the power of m. A to the 1 over n is the nth root of a. And a to the 1/2 power is the square root of a. So I recommend writing these three down and referencing them for the remainder of this video and for the next one as well. So with that being said, let's look at number 145. For number 145, we have 10n to the power of the 1/2. And we can look at, in fact, this bottom property here. This is just the definition of the square root. And so we can just write this as the square root of whatever is inside the parentheses here. In this case, this is just 10n. And this is your final answer. So this is done. For number 146, we have x to the power of 3 over 2. So in this case, m is 3 and n is 2. So we can rewrite this, just rearranging our numbers there. What I like to personally do is set it up like this, and then this number on the bottom is going to be your index, so this is going to be a 2, and this number on the top is going to be your exponent on the outside of the parentheses. And we can actually simplify this a little bit further, because we don't actually have to write this 2 here. Kind of like when we write, for example, something like 3x, we put a 3 there. When we have 2x, we put a 2 there for our coefficient. And when we have 1x, we just write x. We don't write the number 1 here. It's implied. So this 1 there is actually missing. And similar to here with the index, this 2 is there, but we actually don't need to write it, and we can just simplify this as the square root of x cubed. For the next one, we have 147, and that one is 5x to the power of 2 over 3. So rearranging this, we have root 5x, and let's put our numbers m and n in their respective spots. Number on the bottom is your index, number on the top is your exponent. And we can't simplify this any further because we do need to write the 3 here, and we do need to write this 2 here. The only case that we wouldn't need to write either of these numbers is if this is ever a 2 and this is ever a 1. So this is simplified. And so to be clear, this was our final answer on 146, and this is our final answer for 147. For 148, we have x to the 1/6 power. So we can recall this property up here, that anything to the 1 over n power, that's just the nth root of that thing. So in this case, this would just be the 6th root, so this is n here, 6th root of x. But if for whatever reason you don't remember this property, the second one there up top, you can still write this as root x, number on the bottom is your index, number on the top is your exponent, and remember that anything to the power of 1 is itself, so you still get the 6th root of x. It's just an extra step, but if there's any property from here that you remember, it would be definitely this one that you should take away from this video. And then just knowing that anything to the power of 1 is itself, so it can be reduced or simplified into this form. And then if n happens to be 2, then you don't need to write the 2 here, and it's just the square root of a. Looking at the next one, we have number 149. So for number 149, we have m to the 4 over 3 power. So we can rewrite this as root m, and number on the bottom is your index, 3, number on top is your exponent. And this is already simplified. For number 150, we have 2m to the power of 1/2. And recalling our property from over here, we can just say this is the square root of 2m. And that is our final answer. For number 151, we have r to the power of 5 over 2. This is equal to, we have root r, put it in some parentheses. Bottom number is your index, this is a 2. Top number is your exponent, this is a 5. And of course, if this is a 2, we can simplify it as just the square root of r to the power of 5. For the next one, number 152, we have 2b, that is a b, I promise. Maybe I'll change it. I guess that looks better. Anyways, to the power of 3 over 2, we can rewrite this as root 2b. Bottom number is your index, so we have a 2, and top number is your exponent. And of course, we don't need that 2 there, so that's really just the square root of 2b to the power of 3. So here, this was your final answer, and over here, this is your final answer. Okay, so let's look at number 153. For number 153, we have 2a to the power of 5 over 6. Rearranging as before, we can write this as root of 2a. Bottom number is your index. This is a 6. Top number is your exponent. So this is a 5. And we're done. Number 154, we have 2v to the power of 2 over 3. We have root 2v in parentheses. The bottom number is your index. We have a 3. And the top number is your exponent. So squared. And this is done. For number 155, we have m to the 1/2 power. We can, of course, use this approach, or we can memorize that this just means the square root of m. And for the last one, number 156, we have the 7x to the power of 5 over 2. So we can write this as root 7x, and the bottom number here is your index, 2, top number is 5. So that is your exponent. And we don't need to write this 2 here, so we can write this as root 7x, square root of 7x, to the power of 5. And this is your final answer. And so that wraps up this video. And the next one will be very similar. We're just going to work the other way around. So I'll see you then.